let's make something new today. So in today's video, we're going somewhere I did not expect to go. That is, let's boldly go where a milkshake seems to keep stumbling onto. Where is that, you ask? Well, it's the land of NFT. Welcome to Unusual Due Diligence. I am your host, Poseidon, the mighty god of the sea, and whose spirit animates me, the talking milkshake. In today's episode, let's learn by doing, specifically a new feature I stumbled on in Adobe Photoshop. So do you need Photoshop to make an NFT? The answer is no. You could just take photographs with your phone's camera and mint those in NFT, which is quite an interesting idea all by itself. Instead though, let's talk about this specific feature inside of Adobe that's been added and is inside a beta process right now. And then let's use that to bring about a small discussion about the possible future states of where NFTs are going. After all, you would think, reading the news, NFTs are over. However, I think what we're seeing is the beginning of something important that is slowly happening in the creative world. You see, the feature for NFT export in Adobe was launched initially in October of 2021. Now, what's interesting about that is that I somehow missed this menu option shown on the screen ever since then. Let's look over the claims on what this new service provides. There's quite a few bullets here from CoinDesk, and I won't read them all. You can find the link in the description below. Quote, a new feature on Adobe Photoshop will allow artists to prove they are the creators of artwork on NFT marketplaces, according to this Adobe blog post on Tuesday. Content credentials, as the feature is called, can capture identity data as an image is edited on the software and store it as metadata. The feature is optional, and the company has launched a website where the credential metadata of images can be verified, end quote. So what I did was to take an image asset I had created for a previous video on color theory and Bitcoin price direction, and because I just find that image so striking, I've decided to make it an NFT with a couple small edits. But first, let me show you the process of attaching the history to an NFT image. So from the Photoshop menu, the first thing to do is navigate up to the top and find the window option, and then from there scroll down to quote content credentials beta end quote menu option as shown on the screen now. When you click to enable this, you should get the little window shown on the left within Adobe Photoshop. You see, you're going to need that to start association of all your connected accounts. Now, you may notice I do not explicitly have the producer checkbox selected. So if you're wondering why, it is because Photoshop seems to pull in your larger Adobe profile. And unfortunately for this case, it's perhaps best for all involved I do not give out my real identity beyond being a milkshake. It isn't terribly interesting, but I do want to ensure I don't have to worry about some awkward parties later on this year. Moving on, let's talk about connected accounts. What is that and what's that look like? On the screen now is the website that shows up for the connected accounts once you click on this feature. The top section shows social media profiles you can use to associate to your content. However, as near as I can tell, you need to enable that producer checkbox. Yes, you need to enable that to get those social media profiles to show up on the art. So that's challenging and hopefully a better level of control that Adobe is working on for those who don't necessarily want to pull in their full profile, but do want to link in one of their social media handles. Now, if you scroll down on the screen, you'll find the following Web3 connections that are shown now. Today, there are two wallets supported by Adobe, and they happen to be channel favorites as well, MetaMask and Phantom. Now, for full disclosure, I've not done any NFT operations yet in Phantom, and the one and only NFT I've made so far has been in MetaMask with OpenSea. So, for convenience sake, that's the account I linked today. Now, here's an example of signing the transaction, as well as what it looks like to connect your Twitter account shown on the screen. On the left is the Adobe authorization for connecting your Twitter feed, and here's the view for when you authenticate your wallet. You'll note that there's a signature request connecting your account to the origin of .adobe.com to verify that you are the owner of the account. So once you do this, the question you may be stuck wondering about is, well, now what do I do? Well, here's the interesting thing. As you start manipulating your image, the summarized history of your changes show up in the preview of the emitted history of an NFT as shown in the screenshot. That is, if you look at the content credentials page and click the preview button, the entire history, including the import of one of the channel static images that I use, it all just shows up like this. So now once you have your image masterpiece assembled, for sure, the next big hot item in the NFT landscape is navigate to File and then Export. Once you click this Export As option, this screen shows up. You'll want to scroll down on this right section in order to find the item labeled Content Credentials Beta. There's going to be this option here, and it's unchecked. For all this to work, you need to click the check mark right here, the option that says Content Creators. Okay, once you export the image, your next step is just to upload the image to your NFT minting solution. Since I haven't got much further than OpenSea with my my NFT creation process, I've only just used OpenSea again for this example case. You'll find a link to that in the description below. So now, once you have this newest NFT in your collection, then what you can do with this image, and this is where the entire process is rather fascinating, is use the content authentication tools to verify what all you just did. Here's what I mean. Once you take the, say, quote, learning to see, end quote, NFT, head on over to this weirdly shaped URL at contentauthenticity.org. What you're going to get is a little intelligence now once you upload the image behind what I did to create the image, including the path on disk for one of my static assets. It includes some of the digital tooling work I used, as well as the steps I took to create the overall image. Now, if you're with me so far, let's bring this all around into a discussion on the future. We've been hearing from all the media about how NFT are a fad and have no real economic value, and yet Adobe just demonstrated a real value scenario of using NFT to authenticate the originality and authenticity of digital art. If you recall, I predicted a direction the NFT landscape would go, and we are still heading along those trend lines. So I predict further we'll see Unity 3D and other game engines start offering native integrations rather soon. And why do I say that? Because Adobe is a powerhouse in the creative industry. For them to recognize the value of NFT, then I expect other creatives to soon follow. Now that NFT doesn't have quite as much stigma attached to it, we're starting to see the real world problems that NFT can solve. And this is important. NFT does solve problems, and sure, I'm not going to tell you they don't create some along the way. However, we're out of time today. You'll be able to find a link to this NFT in the description below. Until next time, make waves and maybe some digital art, my friends.